If reposted.
Today, we are looking at something from an ancient Chinese philosopher, Lao Tzu. He says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. I think no one more in the world needs to hear this than me. I do not enjoy the journey. I go on road trips, and getting there is the most important thing. I'll start the gas tank, I'll run in, go to the bathroom, and just try to start driving immediately. I need to sometimes take this advice, but just slow down.
For the record, I'm sort of I'm with you for the road trip theory. Like, let's limit the P stops, everybody, which is hard to say to an 8-year-old and the wife. Let's get on the I-5, not take the 101 because we got to get there fastest. So I'm with you on that, the road trip part.
Right. Well, what about with life? I mean, you take your morning coffee and you look at the tree that you just noticed a couple days ago outside your house. I think I could find lots of reasons that or examples of things that are time sensitive, but like if you really break it down, nothing's really that time sensitive. I think to some extent, whether you do this on purpose or not, you embrace that. I'll text you and you might text me back 3 days later. You're not in a hurry.
I don't think that has nothing to do with hurry. It's like, there's just so much going on. I'm like overwhelmed by everything in life.
Yeah.
I read this quote and just thought, like, unless you're like I hate to say this, like a crazy Bible thumper, you think the earth is not as old as it is, but most people think the earth is really old. And it took a long, long time to get where we are right now. I just read this. I just think it's a great fact about Earth. Basically, the reason the Earth ever became inhabitable by human beings is because we got hit by meteors. Like, there was planets all throughout the galaxy, right? And after gazillions of years, meteors just planked off the Earth enough that started this chain reaction where life could form.
Yeah.
And then we're here recording on Zoom, talking to each other like Star Trek. Like, it took a long, long time. And, the famous Louis C.K. stand-up that he did on like Conan, where he kind of got started famous. He's like, I love when I'm sitting on a plane and the pilot comes on and be like, we're going to be delayed by a couple of hours. He's like, you literally just went 500 miles in an aircraft across the United States and you're pissed you're going to be an hour late. It's like, the Earth moves slow. Technology thinks it moves fast, but in actuality, the Earth really does move very slowly.
Well, yeah, in the scheme of existence, time is very slow. But I think recently, with the advent of email and smartphones and stuff, like we think that things need to go a lot faster. I worked in construction for a while, and I remember like we got to the point where everything's email and digital now. And it's like, oh, we need to have drawings on our tablet so our superintendent can see changes in real time on what happens. I mean, right when I started working, people were still using fax machines, and just asking a question about what color a paint should be might take a week. And now it's a day. And people have these new expectations. And whether you want to buy into them or not, like at the end of the day, like things are going to be fine.
No, for sure. And I think that's part of the reassurance that things take a long time, because the Earth and the system that we're involved in doesn't change over the course of night. Like, good news, take a deep breath. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning, and in theory, the sun's going to rise and the moon's going to set. And I think, like, just to double down on what you said, is like, if you ever visit the Grand Canyon, you go to the Grand Canyon, you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Yeah, because it took 20 bazillion years to make.
Yeah. And I guess a more specific or practical example of like this is if you're trying to start something, if you're trying to start a new job or you're trying to start a new business, like a lot of times I feel like I need to have instant success. But it's like the saying in the entertainment industry is like, oh, that person was an 10-year overnight success. Like Bryan Cranston was an overnight success, but like he worked forever. And there's so many stories. Or starting a podcast, we might have one listener a day and then it like slowly grows. Or Joe Rogan, everyone's like, he has $100 million contract, but he's been doing podcasting for 11 years, 5 days a week. Like it takes time.
Just to double down on that, I heard David Diggs, the great guy from He was the actor who played Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, like, if you could go back in your past and change one thing, he would just say, like, I just wouldn't be so hard on myself on the timeline of my career. Like, like just like you said about being an actor, you're like, I want to be in a thing right now and do this thing. And if you could just, I know that's hard to do, right? Because you're an actor, you want to get FaceTime and be in things.
Yeah.
But he's like, I just wish I was less hard on myself on having a firm plan of how the career had to look.
Yeah. Or if you start any kind of job, like you start as a line cook, I wish I was a sous chef, or I want to, like, whatever. Putting in the time is going to make you better, I think.
For sure. And I don't know, I like this quote in that, it's a reminder that nature's doing its thing. It takes a long time for water to float down the entire Colorado River. It takes 24 hours for the sun to fully set, fully close, and that doesn't change. But you can get a QAnon supporter to tell you that, hey man, sometimes the Earth moves at 36-hour cycles. Nope, it's always gonna be 24, bro. It's
I
all
haven't even heard that. What? 36 hours?
I don't know. I just made that up. But, there's crazy people out there that think they just make up things. But no, there's scientific fact for how the Earth and the system works.
Yeah.
And typically speaking, you can wake up in the morning and rely on those things.
Yeah. So just everybody take a deep breath. When you take a road trip, go fast. It's fine.
I just want to say this last thing, and I haven't said it yet. It's in the Bible somewhere. I'm not a Bible. It's in the Bible somewhere, like in Corinthians, blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't worry about the lilies of the field. Don't worry about the day. Something about like how plants and flowers and foxes don't worry about anything. They just go live their life.
Yeah. And I guess I have one more thing to add. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, you'll eventually win the Super Bowl.
Nope. Actually, no. Negatory.
Well, if you don't want to take a pee break on a road trip, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Tweety Birds, and thanks for stopping by.